Hey guys, I'm Kira Shanae. Do you like ghost stories? I'm obsessed with ghost stories, so I'm going to share one with you today. I even have a personal connection to this ghost story, so I'm going to share that with you too. The morning of April 24th, 1856, Samuel Cox went out into the woods after he heard his dog barking at what he thought was a squirrel. His wife stayed behind, and she thought their two children were playing outside. Samuel returned in the evening, and the two children were not at home. So Samuel and his wife began searching all evening looking for both of their children. They were two boys. Their names were George and Joseph. They were aged 7 and 5 years old. When the next morning arrived and nobody had seen George or Joseph, the whole town began searching. Over 1,000 people were looking for these two boys. It was like these two boys had just vanished into thin air. The townspeople got so desperate that they called in a witch to try and find the boys, and while she searched high and low trying to divine where they were, she couldn't find them. Not surprisingly, suspicion started to fall on the parents, thinking that they had something to do with the boys' disappearance. However, it really didn't take long to clear the parents from the disappearance of the boys. As the search continued, a local farmer named Jacob Dilbert was having prophetic dreams that he found the boys in the woods. They were very, very, very specific. In his dream, he passed through the woods, past a dead deer, a child's shoe, into a ravine, and found the bodies of the two missing boys. Absolutely haunted by these prophetic dreams, Jacob Dilbert told his brother. Together, they decided to follow his dreams and go out into the woods where his brother had noticed he had seen these types of landmarks before. They did, in fact, find a dead deer in the forest. They did, in fact, find a child's shoe. And they did, in fact, find the bodies of the two boys in a ravine next to a creek. Now, 50 years later, the people who lived in the small town got together, raised enough money, and placed a monument next to the creek where the boys' bodies were found. That monument still stands today and is really very easily accessible if you follow a small path into the woods. And in fact, it's a really fun place for teenagers these days to go up and kind of ghost hunt and stuff. That being said, my friends and I were no exception. On to my part of the story, where I can tell you that I've seen some wild and crazy shit happen up at this monument. Now, I'll tell you that the stories go that if you go up to the monument at night, that you can shine your flashlight across the little creek onto a very specific tree, and you will see the shadows of the two boys. There's also rumors that you can hear them laugh, and it's said that if you get very lucky, you will see bloody handprints on the monument itself. That being said, the monument is actually guarded by about an 8-foot chain link fence. So if you want to get to it, it's going to be a little bit of work. So one night, my best friend and I are super bored, and we decide we're going to do a little ghost hunting and visit the monument in the middle of the woods. It's something that we've done a million times, and really it's just something that we do for fun, and we never really expect anything to happen, even though both of us are pretty firm believers in ghosts and spirits and things like that. So we get up to the edge of the woods where there's parking, pull in, and decide that we're going to finish our rousing rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen when another car pulls in. This is really unusual at this time of night in this particular location. So at this point, we're left with two options. We can either risk it and get out, or we can stay inside the car. The problem is we don't know who's in the other car. It could be other kids. It could be a park ranger who might find us, or It could be some weird creepy creeperton who is going to snatch us up and drive us away and put us in his basement. Needless to say, we're a little hesitant to get out of our car. Oddly enough, the other people don't get out of their car either, which makes the whole situation extra suspicious. The whole standoff took about 15 minutes while we stared at them and they stared at us. We assumed because the car was super dark and we couldn't see into theirs, I'm assuming they also couldn't see into ours. So they probably had the same suspicions that we did about whether we were teenagers, a mass murderer, or a park ranger. Eventually, they exited their vehicle first because we're super, super stubborn and there was no way we were exiting our car first. When they did, to our relief, they were just teenagers too, and so we felt safe getting out of our car. They approached us and told us what they were there for. Of course, the exact same reason why we were there, which was to go visit the monument and ghost hunt. They had flashlights, so it seemed like a good idea to team up. Now, that being said, and this is important for later, being that we were teenagers, we had absolutely zero manners, which means none of us introduced ourselves to the other. So we all started down the teeny tiny little path that takes you back into the woods that leads to the monument. None of us have any business being in the middle of the woods at midnight. We finally get to the spot where the monument is, and just as we're on the cusp of rounding the little corner that brings the monument into view, the random boy who we decide to join forces with yells, "Oh my God!" To which we all respond, "What?" As we approach the monument, we see, and I shit you not, bloody handprints on the monument. Now, again, there's about an 8-foot tall chain link fence around the monument. And these were what appeared to be fresh because they were shiny and drippy and wet. Now, I won't lie, that freaked us out pretty f***ing good. But we're teenagers and we've got balls, so we continue to hang out around the monument. I'm not saying that a ghost made the handprints, but I'm not saying that one didn't either, because I believe in these things. All I'm saying is that we should have been freaked out and we should have left, but we didn't. Instead, what we opted to do was try the other things that you're meant to try when you're at the monument, which was shine our flashlights across the river to see if we could see the shadows. Now, that didn't work quite as well as we had hoped. Did we leave, though, when we couldn't see any shadows? No, we did not. What we did do was hang around the monument and try to come up with other ways that we could possibly make these poor ghosts come and entertain us. I'm going to be using Dark Heart from the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette. So one of us gets the bright idea that we should all stand in a circle and quietly listen for the kids to laugh, because that's the other thing that they're supposed to do while you're up there. The 5 of us stand shoulder to shoulder in a circle in the middle of the woods. And I am wedged between 2 people from the group that we had just met, quietly listening to the boy on my right-hand side breathe. A lot of time goes by. It felt like hours, maybe not hours, but it felt like a lot of time. And we just stood there very, very quietly. Nobody said a word. And I don't know what we were trying to do, but if anybody had walked up on us, they would have thought we were some kind of weirdo. I don't know what they would have thought we were. I'm just blending this out so that it's not one solid horrible on. I just got this palette. It's the Kaleidoscope palette from Profusion. It's got 48 colors, and it's actually got some really good contours right over here on the side. I'm in love with this thing. The glitters are awesome. The colors are awesome. They're really, really smooth. So it's not quite a powder. It's not quite a cream either. It's really, really nice. I'm going to go in with this color Timeless right here. So anyway, we were standing in the woods shoulder to shoulder for quite a while. And suddenly I hear very quietly, Kira, in my ear. First, I'm not quite sure what I've heard. And I just kind of keep standing there like a total moron. Like anybody else who heard somebody quietly whisper their name in their ear isn't going to automatically be like, what the is that? So a few more minutes pass by and nothing's happening. I'm going to go in with the color Starburst. And suddenly, out of nowhere, I hear the same whisper in my ear again. Kira. I'm like, what? So I turn to the boy who's standing to my right and I say, what do you want? And he looks at me and he says, what? And I say, what do you want? To which he again replies, what? So I look at this guy and I say to him, you said my name. And he says, dude, I don't even know your name. At this point, my new stranger friend absolutely loses his My dude became very skittish and started absolutely screaming to his friends that we had to leave right this very minute because they were there and they were coming. So we all basically started hightailing it out of the woods. Well, I say we, actually the strangers hightailed it out of the woods. My friend and I slowly made our way down the path back toward our car. Now you might think that's all, but nay, nay, I say, because just as we were crossing a little bridge that sits over a tiny little brook, one of our new scaredy cat friends noticed two red lights off into the forest, which in no way had anything to do with any lore that we had ever heard about the boys in the woods and the death and the monument. And to this day, none of us have any clue what those red lights were. Nonetheless, I 100% swear to you that every word that I have just spoke is 100% a true story. Let me throw some lashes on and I'll be right back with your final look. That's it, you guys. This is our finished look. Do you like it? I hope you do. Really enjoying it. Anyway, I hope you'll come back for more ghost stories, more weird stories, whatever I have cooked up for you. I hope you'll remember to love yourself and always be a unicorn. Until next time, bye!